So I was trying to explain something a little complicated to some friends of mine, and I think they understood it, but I'm going to give a very, very oversimplified explanation of why the doctors don't like to help patients no matter how sick they get if there could be a court case involved. And I'll give you a quick oversimplification. I might even skip the analogies. So let's say your landlord had some poison he was hiding in the ceiling in the attic, or something deadly. Let's say your landlord had something deadly he was keeping in the apartment. And then you got very, 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 very sick for 3 years, to the point where you're in a hospital bed and you no longer can use your legs, or let's say you're coughing up blood, or your eyeballs are bleeding, or who knows, something terrible is happening to you, and for 3 years in the hospital. And you go to your primary care, and you go to the doctors, and you ask for a specialist, and for those 3 years, your primary care gives you the answer, oh, well, we don't quite do that here. I'm sorry, we're not going to be able to help you with that. And then you ask, well, what doctor, what primary care does do this? And then you find out all primary cares deal with mold and breathing issues. If you go to a primary care and say that you're having breathing issues and need an inhaler, they are absolutely qualified to handle that. If you're getting rashes all over your skin because of mold, they're absolutely allowed to prescribe rash medicine. If you are falling down and having muscle issues and pains, they can easily have a conversation about that and suggest an air purifier. If you maybe are getting sick in the middle of the night and vomiting blood in the morning, falling down, and then you're suffocating and you're having to crawl down 2 flights of stairs to get downstairs so you can gasp for air, maybe the doctor suggests opening the windows before bed while you wait to move out. But if the doctor says they just don't deal with that and they don't want to hear about it, and then beforehand they already say that yes, you're going to get sick, because this is an actual, I'll give you an actual example. I have deadly, deadly mold all over my apartment. Every single person that's spent any more time than a couple of weeks in here has started to get sick. I've had a disabled person that spent more than 2 years here. He had breathing issues, and he ended up turning the heat on 85 and opening all the windows on his room for a whole year, so he wouldn't get sick. My roommate is getting sick at 83. I am incredibly sick every time I close the windows. And even when I leave the windows open, I still get sick, especially on certain days where the temperature and air is certain ways, like less moisture, more moisture, stuff like that. So with all that mold, I took pictures, I took videos of the waterfalls coming in and going behind the siding, behind the drywall, and then on the wall, going down the wall, under the carpet and floors. That's how the mushrooms were coming in through my bathroom floors. We had a waterfall feeding under the floor. And I brought this up to the landlord every single month for like 6 years now. We keep on requesting new windows, and he just says they're coming, COVID, they're coming for 6 years now. And we just keep on getting sicker and sicker. So anyways, I showed these videos and these pictures to my doctor, and she did say, I'm going to get sick, I could die, I need to move out right away. Well, my next appointment after that, I told her I'm trying to move out, but that is not a possibility at this time. I need money, and I need an actual landlord who's willing to rent to me for about the same cost I'm paying now. So, I could do a 1-bedroom at what we're paying now, but I can't do any more than 50 hours a week. I'm already giving up my doctor at 50 hours a week, and I need my doctors. I'm already giving up my food, my doctor, most of my paycheck, and I'm still breaking even at 50 hours. And I got to give up my insurance at 50 hours. I have no health insurance if I work 50 hours. And then eventually that comes back and bite me, and then I lose everything again. So no matter what, this doesn't work if I have to pay a ridiculous amount, like $2,000 for a 1-bedroom. Most jobs do not pay that. If I go to the next 40 jobs that are either retail, convenience store, restaurant, high-end restaurant, waitress, cook, busing, any of the above, even warehousing work is $15 an hour. I take any of those jobs, times that by 40, take taxes out, then go find a cheap, cheap one-bedroom advertised in Rochester. It's usually about $1,600 to $2,000 for a one-bedroom. I got a wicked good deal at $1,400 for a two-bedroom. This place is an amazing deal right now. So, but there's a catch with mine. Nobody understands how I got a deal like this. Everybody else is paying $2,400 a month for a two-bedroom. Meanwhile, I'm paying $1,400 for a two-bedroom. Everybody says I'm lucky. But then I explained to them the two factors and the reasons why I have cheap rent. And that is due to I pay $600 during winter every month in electric, and then their jaw drops. And second, we have to get sick and we have to pay thousands in medical bills every year. So there's two expenses that come with this apartment. Anyways, so I showed everything to the doctor. She said I would get sick. So I asked her for a diagnosis. She said she didn't do that. I came back, and once again, I told her, well, I understand you don't treat mold, you told me, but how about the symptoms like this rash or the breathing issue or any of that type of stuff? And she said she doesn't handle that either. Well, the real reason for this is the courts. She's afraid of any of that. Because I did ask, and it does. She doesn't want to get mixed up in any court case. She does not want to get called in as a witness or anything like that. And because they lose wages. Well, let's say that a doctor says that you are getting sick, your body is at harm due to the mold at your apartment. Let's say that she puts that on paper. Then you take that paper and you go to an attorney. And then you file with that attorney to go to court. Now, that is the proper procedure in New Hampshire for if you're getting sick due to the landlord's negligence. You have to hire an attorney and then go to court. But before you go see that attorney, it is best to have that paper ready. But the doctor, if she writes that letter and we go to court, they're going to put her on the witness list on one of the people who are aware that this mold has affected me. And then she'll have to show up and sit on a bench, even if she doesn't get called to the stand or get questioned. Even if she's no part in it, she still could have to sit in the benches on the side. And while she's sitting on the benches on the side all day, she's not making any money at her practice. She didn't show up for work. She's not making any money. So a lot of doctors throw their Hippocratic oath right out the window because they want to feed that greed. They want more money. This is the mindset of a doctor. I rather have this kid wander around for 5 years, getting sick, trying to get an apartment but can't because his wages and the doctors are sucking his money away. I'd rather have that go on than me lose 1 day of wages sitting in a damn courthouse. I would hate doing that, so this kid can go fuck off. That's the doctor's mindset. They have done this before. They know what's coming, and then they see my record that my mother stuck on me. They see all that, and boy, there's nothing. There's nothing that I'm going to get help with. Nothing. This doctor has completely checked out, and now I'm her little piggy bank. And this happens a lot of the times when things get difficult for anybody, it seems like today. When you're asked to do your job and it becomes difficult, they bail out. I see it with my coworkers. I see it with the doctors. I see it with my father. I see it with total strangers. But there is a small percentage of Americans that still believe in going the extra mile, doing the right thing, helping one another, being righteous, having respect, being a man of your word. If you make a deal, then you stick by it. And I actually learned that from my father, but not by actions, by verb. I remember him verbally teaching it to me, but his actions actually taught me a whole different lesson. His actions told me that as long as you profit from the deal, then you can back out as long as there's no consequences. That was his version of that. You can make a deal and back out as long as there's no consequences for you. And if he did get mad at me for saying that, all I would have to do is remind him what he did to my Social Security. He made a handshake, a most important deal, looked me in the eye, and said he would do everything in his power to make this right. And that meant trying to hire an attorney, drive me around, and spend time and money on me to fix his mistake. And instead, as soon as he got his part of the deal, he bailed out, called the attorney, dropped off the attorney, totally, and I'm still paying for this today. I'm still trying to figure this out today. And that's just one of many. There was another time where he wanted me to do something for him that I did not have to do, and I said no. So then we made an agreement that I wanted to teach him how to play a card game so I could bond with my father. I always wanted to bond with my father, so this card game took a lot of smarts. It wasn't an easy card game. And if he really did just read how to play it, then he would be a good opponent. But we never even got like learning how to play it because he bailed out on that agreement as well. And those are only two. When it came to actual serious agreements, as long as you could bail out with no consequences, my mother, father did that a lot. But they always verbally told me you should be a man of your word. So there's been a lot of times in life where I didn't want to keep my end of the bargain. I didn't have to, but I still did. And I faced the consequences. I shouldn't say consequences. I should say I faced my part of the deal. Just because I got the money, just because I got what I got, doesn't mean I shouldn't show up the next day to work. Doesn't mean I shouldn't do what I got to do. I always, even when it's something really bad that I don't want to do. Like one time, somebody gave me Ativan or Klonopins because I was shaking real bad. It was fall or something, or maybe a little bit warmer than that. Actually, it wasn't that cold, but I was still shaking at nighttime. And they gave me one and told me they would catch up with me later. Now, normally that just means $3 or something later. But I did say I would do them that favor later. At the time, I didn't. I usually don't do that either. I don't take chocolate bars for that people just randomly leave on my pillow. That is not usually me. But I was not feeling good that night. I was shaking all morning. I was seizing. Everybody knew that I looked bad. So yeah, I took whatever. Give me those. Yep. And then they asked me if I could get them a shirt a couple days later because they needed clothing for an interview or something. And so I said, well, I don't have any money on me right now. You have to own the interview soon, Zach. The interview soon. You can steal it for me. I did something illegal for you. Well, now go get me the shirt for my interview. I don't care where you get it. Just make sure it's a nice shirt. I said, oh, shit. What did I get myself into? I made a deal. I got something to help my seizures, but now I owe this gentleman. And I did say I owed him a favor, and we did not specify on what that favor was. So as a man of my word, if he has an interview to go to, and he needs a shirt and he has no money, and I have no money, well, I really do have to go get him a shirt. That I made that deal. I did agree to it, and I did not specify what my action would be in return. I should have specified that I would just give him a couple bucks as he walked away. But at the time, when you're living outside in the woods, spending years sleeping in the woods, when you're shaking all night, when you sometimes have to spend 3 days in the woods because you can't get your legs to work, yeah, you just grab that shit and you want to feel better. But anyways, so he ended up looking into a store. I didn't try to hide it. I just grabbed the shirt. I walked out. I ran to the guy, gave him the shirt, ran across the street, looked at the guy who wanted to, it was the owner of the store, stopped. He tackled me. I don't know why he tackled me. I stopped. He could have just walked up to me. I mean, it wasn't like I was running at that point. But anyway, so I stopped, waited for him to catch up, so that way I could face the music. He tackled me to the ground. That was unnecessary. Then the cops came over and started fucking with me. They started taking my pills out of my pocket and pocketing them, which I never got, by the way. All my medicines I kept illegally. The cops do that a lot. Whenever you have medicine that you take, if the police department decides to pop you, they take it illegally, and then you have to go the whole week without your medicine, by the way. A lot of people don't realize that police officers do this, but they do. I've had 3 different occasions where I've searched by an officer and they've taken my medicine and told me to get the fuck out of there. And then when I mention the medicine, they ask if I'm joking and if I want to get fucked up or if I want to go to jail or if I want to get false charges put on me. So this is a very common occurrence where police officers like taking your pills from you, even when they're perfectly legal and they're in the bottle and you have the prescription labels. And homeless people have to carry them on them regularly. Anyways, so he tackled me, the store owner. Then the police came, a big fat one, stuck his stomach on my back, gave me a couple scratches, rubbed my face into the cement. Then at this point, I ended up going to the jail cell. Now, because they hit my head a couple times against the cement on purpose while I was just sitting there weak and kind of like, I just let my body go limp while they kept on smashing and doing stuff to me. At that point, they hauled me to the police station. I just passed out on the bench. I was dizzy at this point anyways. Then they brought me to court upstairs, released me. But I had to do that because I'm a man of my word. Now, I didn't like doing that. I didn't have to, and I would have had to work and pay any fines. And now, if I make a deal like that, I'm going to specify the money. And if they don't come back and they don't like it, they can go fuck off. I said I'll pay you back $3. Why didn't you say anything when I said that 3 days ago? Well, it's too bad. That's what you're getting. You're getting money. But if I don't specify and I agree to pay somebody back in return, then I need to pay that person back in return. If you agree to help somebody with Social Security and do everything in your power to make sure that they keep it, and then you grab that person's hand, shake it, and then look them in the eye, you do it. Same thing with me. If I shake your hand, you're giving me seizure medicine illegally called Ativan that really works, but it happens to be a controlled substance and illegal, and you tell me all I have to do is do you a favor later, and then I look you in the eye and say, sure, I owe you a favor, and then we split up, and then you need a shirt for an interview with no money, and I don't have the money, and you need this right away, and you need this favor, I have to do this favor. He had an hour, and I had to get him a shirt. I thought about going to door to door to door to door, but none of them would have had the proper shirt for him to go to work. Gentleman's District was right there. I knew I could get that shirt out of there in his hands before. I was hoping I could get away and then apologize to the store owner with money later. What I did still do, by the way. I ended up going back in the doorway, waving to the store owner who told me not to come in, obviously, and then I explained to him what was going on and gave him some money, which he forgave me and told me that that's all fine. He thought that it was something like that. He said, it seemed weird because you didn't try to hide it. You just grabbed the shirt, looked at me, and then just walked out. He's like, I had no idea. I'm like, yeah, I would have came back and gave you money, but at the time, it had to be done. And he said, at least you're a man of your word. I go, yeah. Anyway, so, yeah. It's not a good idea to make deals you can't keep because it could get you in trouble. That was a lesson I had to learn. Now, see, other people do this in reverse. They learn the lesson that you can break a promise as long as it makes you look good. That's not a real lesson. Just because parents are teaching it, just because my father tried to teach it to me with his actions, doesn't mean that I learned it. And see, parents don't realize this. Your actions speak louder than words. That's for children, but that's also for adults. Children learn off their parents. So if your actions are saying something different than what you're telling your child, they're going to learn those traits. Unless they purposely tried not to, like me. Like I wanted to be a man of my word. So I practiced on that. And when I saw actions that did not fit with that, I ignored them and did not copy them and put them in my tool chest.